Welcome back to the Showgirl Diaries. I've been doing burlesque for a year and a half and I have been documenting every single penny that I have spent since the beginning. Everything. Here is my burlesque diary. I have my little spreadsheet on my laptop. I have been thorough. I'm going to be breaking down and exposing exactly how much I have spent to become a burlesque dancer, and I'm scared. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about my costumes throughout the video just to make it a little bit more interesting, and make sure you stay tuned for part 2. I'm actually going to be showing you exactly how much I've earned as a burlesque dancer so far. Chapter 1, the beginning. Starting off with the burlesque course that I took, this only cost £100 for an 8-week course, which I thought was a really good deal. Turns out to be one of the best £100 I have ever spent. I'm also going to have a little counter somewhere on the screen so we can add up. It was in this course that I created my first ever act, which I named Classic Rouge. And I did decide to cheap out a little bit with this costume, so I used stuff I already had and I did buy cheaper materials, which I do kind of regret. Despite cheaping out, it did look like a professional costume, apart from maybe the feather boa. So this entire costume cost me a grand total of £186.04. What I might do is put a whole breakdown of every cost for each costume on the screen. I feel like it would be interesting to see the breakdown. Ironically, the most expensive part of this costume was the feather boa, which cost me £44.90 from Etsy, and the cheapest thing was the red felt, which I used to make the pasties, which was only 99p. Chapter 2. The Summer Nights Show. This was my first big show after the course, and it was summer themed, so I had to make a summer themed act, which I named Heatwave. This costume really wasn't as developed as it could have been. I think if I were to perform it again, which I hopefully will, I will definitely work on it and add more to it. It just needs to be way more lavish. It was very basic. But for this very basic costume, it cost me a grand total of £110.10, and that includes all the props as well. The most expensive part of this costume, surprisingly, was the rhinestones, which cost me £15.19 altogether. And the cheapest part of this costume was actually the vintage slip that I was wearing, which only cost about £1 from a vintage kilo sale. I don't think it really went with the costume though, but it was the best I could do at the time on a budget. Chapter 3. The Halloween show. This was my first ever Halloween gig, and I created this act in just 2 weeks, and it showed. It was definitely not my finest performance, and I will not be performing this one again, but the concept was there. I used a lot of stuff that I already had for this costume, so the grand total only cost me £70.88 for this entire act. The most expensive part was the PVC corset, which was £24.99, and this is iconic. I would definitely be using this for future costumes, for future acts. It's just so damn sexy and it's so cool. I actually used to wear it to work when I was a waitress at Proud Cabaret. And the cheapest part was the fake blood and the makeup, which I bought from Poundland. They only cost £1 each. Oh, and by the way, I actually got a sponsor for this video.
Introducing CVQ's shopping channel with your host, Isabella DeMarco. Thanks, Isabella. Today on CVQ we are talking all things dental hygiene, and we have been lucky enough to try out the O'Clean X Pro Digital S electronic toothbrush. Now this is not just any toothbrush, this is a smart toothbrush, and this is going to help you to get a more thorough clean and build better dental care habits. Not only that, but it also has its own app, and if we head over to the studio bathroom we can see the lovely Isabella there giving us a beautiful demonstration. So how it works is it tracks which part of the mouth you have cleaned, and when you're finished, the smart screen actually tells you how well you've cleaned and if you've missed any of the 8 areas of your mouth. And as you can see, Isabella has not quite cleaned enough. So all she needs to do is press the button and it auto generates a brushing plan to help you give your teeth a better clean. This smart little feature helps you build better habits when it comes to oral care. And when you've brushed completely, it will show the 100 score. Good job, Isabella. It also comes with 3 different modes. It has a more soft, gentle clean for the morning, a more thorough clean out for the evening, and a customizable clean which you can set right here in the app. So let's talk accessories, which our beautiful model Isabella will demonstrate. It of course comes with a charger which doubles as a wall mount. This is really going to give your bathroom that sleek, organised look. It also comes with a very nice, very smart indeed travel case, and get this, it even has its own charging port inside, and it has space in there for 2 brush heads. And here we have the charging cables, and not only that, but you're also going to get not 2, not 3, but 4 brush heads, including 2 delicate care brush heads for a more gentle clean and 2 plaque control brush heads for a more thorough clean. This incredible toothbrush, including all of the accessories you see here, is available on Amazon now. Just click the link in the description. Thank you so much for joining us here at CVQ today, and from all of us here at the studio, take care and see you next time. Bye.
Chapter 4. Leveling up. My latest act that I created was actually my most expensive by far, but this act is actually helping me to get booked for so many more shows, so it's paying for itself. It is of course my Garden of Eden act, which is my first ever feather fan dance. This costume actually involved less making because everything was pre-bought, but I did have to alter the dress, and that took so many attempts. It took me so long. It was very fiddly. I've also had to make quite a few adjustments and repairs on the dress, and although I did buy the diamante lingerie as it was, I also had to alter that as well. I had to like reinforce the whole thing, so it was still a lot of labor. Funny how even when you think, oh, it's fine, I'm just gonna like buy everything, you still just end up making so many adjustments and like spending so much time on it. But anyway, the most expensive part of this costume was actually the ostrich feathers, which cost a total of £105 for 30 feathers. So that's, how much is that per feather?
The answer is 3.5.
Okay, is that right? So that's £3.50 per feather. This was followed closely by the dress, which cost £87.26 and many hours of sewing. Actually, the cheapest part of this costume was the basket, which only cost me £2 from a charity shop, and then I spray painted it silver, and I already had the spray paint, so that didn't cost me anything. The grand total for this entire costume and everything I bought for it was £441.80, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually still less than what I would have spent to buy 1 pair of professional feather fans. My homemade feather fans only cost me £173.50, so this is all me being as nifty as possible. Now throughout, there were lots of general supplies that I bought just for maintenance. It cost a total of £43.02. Chapter 5. Showtime. So of course I did end up having a go at producing my own show, for which I made a small loss, but it was actually a pretty good outcome considering it was my first show. The total cost of this show was £612.10 minus the ticket sales, which was £593.49, gave me a total loss of only £18.61. If you think about it, it only cost me £18.61 to put on an entire show. Plus, of course, many extra hours of work and organising and anxiety and stress, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it for the experience it gave me. Like now I can say I've produced my own show, which is crazy. So you think that that would be it, but no. I have been extra thorough. I have also calculated exactly how much I have spent on all of my travel to all of these shows, because travel can be a very big expense, especially for the London shows. So my total travel costs for all of the shows I've ever done has cost me £143.95. The most expensive train ticket was £19.41 for a train ticket to London, and the cheapest was a £2 bus ticket. So this brings my total cost for my first year and a half of burlesque, including 4 acts and 16 shows, to a grand total of £1,114.40. But you know what? I think that total is actually not a lot in the grand scheme of things. Now, of course, this does not include my earnings, which I'm going to break down in the next video. So you're going to see if I've actually made any profit or if I've made a loss. I actually don't know either because I haven't calculated it yet. Burlesque is not a cheap hobby and it's not a cheap side hustle either. Especially when you're starting out, there's a lot of upfront effort and cost and spending on the costumes and the props, but the more you perform them, the more it starts to pay for itself. And then if you're really serious about it, it can then actually start to earn you profit. Usually what happens is that profit goes straight back into making more acts, more extravagant costumes, so that you can book more expensive shows and get paid more. So it's kind of like you got to spend more and put more effort in to make more money, which is the same with like any business. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're enjoying my videos and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and it just means that you'll see more of my videos more often on your homepage. And if you want to see extra content and more burlesque vlogs, you can check out my Patreon, which is linked below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye. Mwah.
Do you wanna